All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Code Talk Tuesday. Before we begin, I just want to mention an exciting thing that's happening next week on Thursday, July 18th at 6 p.m. Our career services are doing a meet and greet. What that means is a couple of professionals are going to come in over Zoom and they will do a presentation and they will talk about their experiences. They will give you some tips on how to land better jobs, how to land a job, how to go through interviews and stuff like that, just with their experiences. Specifically for you guys, for coding and scripting, David Maynor, he's the director of CGI Academy, is coming in. If you don't know what CGI is, it's a really big IT company. They have an office here in Lafayette and they have thousands of employees. So they are a pretty big company in the IT world. So if you can make it, make sure you make it. The link is in the announcements on our Moodle page. And yeah, 6 p.m. Thursday, July 18th. All right, let's begin. Let me show you what we're doing today. So you can see right here, this is an example of a resume, and this is not just a file, this is an actual website. So you can update it. It's an actual website. You can click the links are working. If you click on any of the links here, if you click on the email, the person will get their personal email open and they can send a email straight to your email address. So it's pretty cool. And what we're going to be doing today is we're going to start with the HTML. So basically what we will try to do today depends how quick we will get through it, but we'll try to get this part finished, everything that's in with the white background. We'll try to get that done. And on the next couple of Code Talk Tuesdays, we will finish this whole thing all together. All right, let's begin. Open your VS Code if you have VS Code. Let me see. I need to open it myself. First thing that you need to do is create a some sort of folder. So create a folder, call it whatever you want, call it resume project, web design project, it doesn't really matter. But I have a folder right here that's called web design. Just make sure you open it with VS Code. Let me see. New window. Share my screen really quick. All right. So this is the landing page for VS Code. Again, to open a new file, you need to click on the Explorer right here and then click Open a Folder. Very simple. And just pick whatever folder you want to open. In this case, I'm opening my web design folder. All right. Okay, you see my page right here. The only thing that I have right now inside of my folder, the original folder, is the images folder. Again, it's very simple. Just right click on this part of your screen and create a new folder, and you can put any images. But we will not be working with images today, so you don't have to do that right now. I will still show you how to do it later on. All right, so let's begin. First thing that we need to do you remember what is the first file that we need to create anytime we are working with web design? No?
I forgot what it is. I don't know. Uh,
Index.html.
okay,
Yeah.
I thought okay.
Yeah. So index.html, this is the first file that any browser is looking for. So no matter how big your system is, no matter how large, how many files it has, this is the first file that any browser will look for. So this is the landing page. Now, for this project, we will only have one page, so we will not be creating any more HTML files. But yeah, just for the future reference, this is the first thing that you will be making anytime you want to work on a website. So create your new file, index.html. And the first thing that we need to do is put our head. So the first thing that goes into the HTML file. It's very simple to do with Visual Studio Code. You don't have to type anything. You just need to put an exclamation point and press enter, and it's automatically done for you. All right, first thing we can do is just rename that title. The title is going to show up at the very top of your web page. And let's just call it My Resume. So call it My Resume, save, press Command S. Let's go back and let's actually look at our example that we're working with. So the first thing, if you have an example, if you're not just making a website from scratch, if you do actually have an example, you can easily, let me see. Yeah, all right. You can easily kind of see what you will be working with, because again, remember that all of the website, they are separated by boxes. So remember those divs, those p elements, those are all boxes. So all of your content will go into boxes. And when I look at this thing, I immediately try to figure out how many boxes I need to create, how many main boxes, how many secondary boxes I need to create, and so on. So the first thing I see is that we have this grayish background all around our resume. This grayish background is our wrapper. So all of the content will go into this big box. Kind of think of it as our main box. Then what I see is there is two big containers and they are separated from each other. One has the bluish background, the other one has white background. So again, two big containers, right? One container right here that's blue, another big container that's in white. And then what's I'm seeing after this is that we have all of these small content containers that we will have to create. And in my head, I can already separate it by, this is my intro, right? This is some stuff about me. This is my name, what I do, some information about me. Then another container is my projects. Another container is my work experience. And inside of that work experience, we will have containers for company 1, company 2, company 3, and another container is my education. Now, this is what I'll be calling a sidebar. So everything that's in blue is a sidebar. We will be working on a sidebar later, but today we will try to get all of this stuff done. And again, I encourage you to put your own information, because again, this should be your resume, so put your own information. However, we will put some dummy text. Remember lorem ipsum of the dummy text. We will put some dummy text for now, just so you get the idea on how to work with that text, and later on you can easily switch it to whatever information you want to actually be inside of your resume. If you have worked with career services, you know, they might have helped you with your resume, so you can copy whatever they gave you, you can copy and put it on this page right here. For the picture, it's pretty controversial. So some people like to put a picture on their resume. Some people don't like to put a picture on the resume. I personally do not put picture on the actual PDF file that I send to companies. I would not put it. But for the sake of this being your first web development project, this picture is here just so you can work with the pictures, just working with images, how to insert images, how to manipulate the size of an image. So you don't actually have to put the picture in it. Just as we work with multiple elements, such as image elements, it's a good practice to learn how to manipulate it, and you don't actually have to put it inside of your final result, final project. All right, so let's actually get to coding. What we will have to do first thing, again, today we are just focusing on the white part, so on everything that's with the white background. Now let's look at how many containers we will have to create. The first one obviously is the wrapper. We will have to create that. Everything is going to be inside of that wrapper container. But after that, we will need to have one container for our bio, then the second container for our projects, third container for our work experience, and the last and fourth container for our education. Again, you can later on, if you don't like how this looks, if you want to manipulate the order of these containers, you will see that it's very easy to do so. But for now, let's just stick with how it is, and later on you can change it for yourself. All right, so we just figured out we need 5 containers, the wrapper container and 4 containers for the main part. Let's start with putting some comments. I personally like, if I'm working with something that I see in front of me, if I don't just come up with the idea in my head, I like to sketch it out, basically just put everything in there, put the skeleton of a website in there, and then fill the skeleton out as we go. So let's start with the first thing, the wrapper. To put a comment in VS Code, you can click either comment and slash or control and slash. If you click that, this is what's going to appear. This is a comment in HTML. So let's say we are putting a wrapper box, and it will be just your regular div. Again, remember, div is just a box, a container. All right, so inside of that wrapper box, this is where we will put, you see it?
Oh, never mind.
All right. Inside of that wrapper box, this is where we will, oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm not sharing my screen, my bad. We're still on. All right, here we go. Let me start over. All right, to put a comment, we need to type either comment slash or control slash, depending on which system you're using. Windows is control slash, and Mac OS is comment slash. So if you click that, you will get this green line. That means it's a comment. It will be completely ignored by your whatever browser you are using. This is not a part of your code. This is just a comment. So inside of that comment, let's put that we are working with a wrapper box. We are creating a wrapper box. And again, we're going to create just a regular div. Again, div is just a little container. You can put whatever you want inside of that div. Just think of it as a box for your information. Inside of that div, this is where we will put our actual information. Remember that we decided that we're going to create 4 different containers. So let's start with the first one. Again, let's put a comment. Let's make sure that we know what we're doing so we can come back later on and see exactly what's happening inside of your code. So the first thing, let's say, is going to be my information, like information about me. Again, you can put any sort of comment in here that makes sense to you, but keep in mind that whenever you're working in the actual field, you will be working with more people. So make sure that the comments that you are putting in your code does not only make sense to you, but they also make sense to other people. So my information, and again, we just need a div. So all of our information, all of the content is going to be inside of a div. The second one, what do we have? The second one was my project. So let's do the same thing. My projects, just call them differently. My projects, again, do the same thing. Put a div, nothing too complicated. The third one was work experience. Again, same idea, work experience, another div. Let's give it another div. And the last thing that we're doing is our education. So again, same idea, education, and put another div. All right, following along? We're good. All right. Command S. When you click Command S, it's going to format it automatically for you if you have the plugins installed that I showed you earlier. It's going to make it look pretty. So now we have all of these 4 boxes. Again, if we will put this website live right now, there's going to be absolutely nothing on that page. It's going to be a blank page because we didn't actually put anything inside of our divs. So let's put some sort of text. Let's say my information. Let's just copy whatever we have right here. My projects, work experience, and education. Education, save it. And again, to show you how this works, let me share my full screen, full desktop. All right, to actually see what your website looks like, let me put the Google right here. All that you have to do is drag your file index.html, drag it to your browser of choice. So far, everything that we have is my information, my projects, work experience, and education. So let's go back and let's look at what we actually need to do. So we need to put the title. If you don't have a title, it doesn't really matter. You can put software developer, or you can put whatever job you want to land in the future, you know, entry-level software developer, junior software developer, doesn't really matter. And then we need this title, then we need our name, and we need our bio. This is what we are putting inside of my information. So let's get to it. Inside of my information, we will put a couple of things, actually. You saw that computer science was actually in bold. It was kind of small, but it was still in bold letter casing. So to do that, there is a special element called H. So elements with H, they go from H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. H1 being the biggest font that you can make. Think of it as heading. Heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5, heading 6. Heading 6 is your normal text, and the higher you go, the bigger the text gets. So let's say we want to put our title as H2 because our name has to be H1. You remember the name was really big, so our name needs to be the biggest. Everything else needs to be smaller. So let's put H2 and let's put our title. Let's put software developer. Then for our name, we need to put H1. Again, remember I told you name is going to be big, so just put your name. I'll put my name. And the last thing that we need to do is we need to create our bio. So write something about ourselves. And if we go back and look at what our bio looks like, our bio is just regular text, right? You see, it's not bold, it's just regular plain old text. So we don't have to use H, we can just use a regular paragraph tag. Paragraph, remember, it's just P. Very similar to div, but in this case, we're already using div right here. So we will use P just to make sure it's a paragraph. And this is just a better practice when it comes to writing text, writing websites. For text, we use P. Let's see. So to get some sort of text, again, dummy text, we just need to go and find lorem ipsum generator. All right, lorem ipsum generator. And let's say we want a couple of paragraphs. Let's say we want one paragraph because, again, it's a bio. It shouldn't be too big. So let's just copy a couple of sentences. Doesn't really matter what you put in there for now. Again, you will make it, tailor it to yourself specifically. Again, save that information. And let's actually go and see what it looks like right now, what's happening on our website. If we if we refresh our page, this is what we see. So again, see that it's software developer is in bold, and it's smaller than our name, but it is bigger than our regular text. So software developer is in bold, my name is in bold, and everything else is just your regular text. So far, we have this dummy text. This is where your bio will go. And you can tell it to yourself. You can, for example, if you are using dummy text, and just so you don't forget that you need to put actual information in there, give yourself another comment. Say that this is my bio. And that way, when you look back on your code, you will look at this comment and you will know that you actually need to put some sort of bio in it and not just dummy text. All right, moving on to projects. Let's look at our example. So as we can see, my projects, again, is also in bold. So we know that we will be using H for this too. Some sort of H, right? H2 or H3, doesn't really matter. But another thing that I see is that this is a list. If you don't have any projects right now, it's okay. Don't worry about it. We're just going to put some sort of link in it later. You can put, instead of my projects, you can put here your GitHub link, or you can put some of the, if you have some projects on GitHub, you can put the link to those projects in here too. You can call it my portfolio or my digital portfolio. It doesn't really matter. But for now, let's just focus on making it the same, and then you can customize it however you want to customize it. All right, so my projects. Moving on to our next div, my projects, our next container. Let's delete this because this was just for us to test how our divs work. And again, we agreed that it wasn't bold, so we are using an H element. Let's use the H2 element again. H2, the same as for our title. And let's put the same thing, my projects. Inside of that H is going to be my projects. Again, remember that it was a list. There is a special element for lists in HTML. We have UL for unordered list, and we have OL for ordered list. Since you see right here, since we have the numbers, that tells me that this is an ordered list. 1, 2, 3, this is an ordered list. So we need to use the OL element instead of UL. All right, click OL, type OL, click enter. And inside of this list, we will list some of our projects, right? To specify that this is an element of a list, you have to type LE, list item, stands for list item. And inside of that list item, this is where you will put whatever information you want to be displayed. In this case, we want to display some sort of link. And let's say we're just create some dummy link. It doesn't really matter. To create a link, it's very simple. You just need to type A. Once you type A, click enter, and this is what shows up. So this is the link that is going to be generated, href. You have to put the link inside of these quotation marks. So let's say myproject1.com. It doesn't really matter what this link is for now, because again, you're going to customize it and tailor it just to yourself. Let's see. And right here, it's very interesting. Right here, you can put whatever you want, and it's going to be a link. So even if you want to put my project 1, it's still going to be a link. So once you click on it, it's going to take you to whatever link is right here. If you give it a name that doesn't belong here, for example, you will put my name in here, it's still, every time somebody will click on this my name, they're going to be taken to this specific link, myproject1.com, whatever link is inside of this element. So let's just say we want to put project 1 is going to be our text that's going to be displayed. Save it and let's see what it looks like. Let's see what we did. See right here, it's in blue. That means that the link is working, and you can see that it's numbered. So our ordered list is working. We are doing everything correctly. We are on the right way. So let's do the same thing. You can just copy these 3 lines of code and you can just paste them 2 more times. And let's rename, for example, my project number 2, my project number 3. And let's just rename these things, project 1, project 2, project 3. Again, we save that. Let's refresh. And here are our projects. They are right here. Again, this is a dummy link. It's not going to take you anywhere. So if you try to click it, it's not going to work. The only thing that I would recommend you add to your links is target, is an attribute called target. What target does, target takes you from a simple, so for example, we click one here, you see that our page turns to your file couldn't be accessed, made a bit moved, edited or deleted. But to make sure that doesn't happen, that our main page does not crash, anytime that the link is invalid, we can use the target attribute. What target does is if we click blank, if we choose blank as the value for our target attribute, the page that you're trying to access by clicking on that link is going to be open in another tab. So it's not going to be open in the current tab that you're in. It's going to open in the next tab, in a new tab. All right, let's do that again. Let's save that and let's see what that does. We click on project 1. You see, our project is still here. This new page opened in a new tab. So that is why I recommend that you use blank, because imagine somebody is actually looking at your resume, right? Somebody found your resume website, they're looking at it, and they click on the link, and something doesn't work. Something goes bad, and this is what they see in front of them. Well, this would be a bad experience for that person. However, if this is what's happening, a bad experience opened in a new window without closing the actual resume, they can just close this link and go back to your resume and think, oh, whatever, it just, something went wrong. But it doesn't actually close your resume for them. So this is why it is important to make sure that all of your links are opening in a new tab instead of opening in the current tab that you're in. So let's just add that to all of our links that we're using. Target blank, target blank. All right, so now all of our links are going to be opening in a new tab instead of the current tab. All right, so we're almost done with our projects. Actually, we are done with our projects. So let's move on to work experience. And let's go back and let's look at what it looks like. Again, work experience, you see that the font is the same, work experience here and my projects here. So that tells me that whatever we used for my projects, we need to use the same thing for work experience. All right, let's go back. Work experience, where are you? And let's just put our work experience into our H2 element right here. H2, copy, and paste the work experience in here. And then we just need to type our divs for our company. So however many companies you want to put inside of your work experience, it doesn't have to be 3. It can be however many are on your actual resume. So whatever you want to put in there, make it personally yours. And in my case, it's 3. So let's just put 3 divs in here. Div number 1, div number 2, and div number 3. Again, you can add some more comments. Let's say this is a comment for company 1. This is a div for company 1. This is a div for company 2. And this is a div for company number 3. So this way you can keep track of all of your code and what's happening inside of your code. All right, company 1, let's just say, again, dummy text. Let's make our text still look bold, but smaller. So let's use an H3 tag. And let's say this is company number 1. And let's do the same for all of our companies. Company number 2, company number 3, and just change the values that you have. All right, company 1, company 2, company 3. All right, let's go back. So what we have here, we have the title and we have the name of the company. And then in a very small font, we also have the times that we have worked for. I will do just one. I will show you how to do one of these companies because the next 2 are exactly the same. So we're going to do one and you can do the other 2 in your free time or right after this lecture. It doesn't really matter. So whenever you have time, you can just finish the other 2. All right, let's go back. So for the company 1, we are using the H3 tag. So we need to go even lower to put the our title and the name of the company that we are working for. So let's say we want to put H5 for the name of our for our title. So let's say title is going to be here. and then company is going to be next. After that, we have to actually put the times that we worked there for, and we will use a span because span is different from div. It acts differently. So everything that you put inside of a span is going to be put on the same line. If you put something in a div, those elements are going to be put on the next lines, but with span, everything that you put inside of the span is going to be put on the same line. That's why we want to use a span. All right. Inside of a span, let's put our P. And inside of the P, we will put the time that we worked for. Let's say months, comma, year. Again, you can tailor it yourself. Put the actual values. Months, year. And we can put whatever country, or we can put the city that we worked in. Up to you. Let's put country right here. All right, save it, and let's see what it looks like. Oh, I accidentally closed my project. Oh no. Okay. Index.html. All right, so this is what it looks like. Work experience company 1. You see that title and company, they are a bit smaller. However, they are on the same, they are bold. And this one is larger, but it's not bold. Again, I don't really like that this is so large, but we can fix it with CSS later on. So for now, we're just gonna leave it, and we're gonna make it a bit smaller down the road. Let's go back to Visual Studio Code. All right, and the last thing that we need to do is we need to put the description of what we did, right? What we did as we worked for that same company. Let's see. Let's see what it looks like on the example. So again, I look at this and I immediately know that I will be using a list, but I will not be using a numbered list like we did for our projects. I will be using unordered list because of these little things right here, little dots that tells me that this is an unordered list. Let's go back. And unordered list is UL. Again, we need to put our list elements. We need to specify that this text is a part of a list, is a list element, list item. And let's put, again, let's go back to our dummy code, lorem ipsum generator. And let's just copy a couple of sentences from here, and let's put it inside of our Visual Studio Code. All right, element 1. Let's copy the next one. Sentence number 2. And let's do the last one, sentence number 3. Sentence number 3. All right, save it, and let's go look at our website and what it looks like now. So now we basically have everything that we needed. We have the name of the company, we have the title and the company that we worked for, we have the months and year that we worked for them, and the country where we worked, and the explanation of what we did, what our duties were. All right. Let's go back and let's look at education. This is the last thing that we have on our main page, basically on our main part, the bigger part of our website. So let's do education. This is going to be the last thing that we are going to do today. Let's look at our education. Again, as I said, you can fill these out later, and get rid of the company too. So once you get to once you are done with the company, if you don't need to actually see where those companies are located, you see that everything is positioned correctly on your page, you can just get rid of this, and you can actually change your title and company to H3. All right, education. Education, again, let's look and see how big that is. So education is similar to work experience. It should be the same type of font, the same size, and the same bold. All right. So that means that we need to go and look what we used for work experience. We used H2. So we need to use the same thing for education. Let's just use H2, copy it, paste it. And the next thing that we needed to do is to put the name of the university, then what degree you got, or if it's not a university, you can put Unitech Training Academy, and then you can put a coding and scripting, and then put the time that it took you, put the months and the year. So if it's not a university, no problem. You can just put, if you have taken any other courses regarding coding, if you have been a part of any boot camps, you can also put them here. If you have taken any online courses, again, put everything in this education section. All right, so the name of our institution, it should be in bold and it should be large. So let's use H3, the same thing as we use for the company. And I will just put educational institution name. All right, educational institution name. Then the next thing we need to do is whatever degree you got. The degree is a little bit smaller. So again, just go smaller, use H4. Let's put degree that you got. And the last thing is the time that it took you. So let's use H5 and let's put months, year, months, year. Again, same idea, months, year, and country, city, state, doesn't really matter. Again, I'll just put this in little, let's do it like this: country, city, state, whatever you want to put in there. Can make it uniquely yours. And let's see what it looks like now. All right, so now we have my projects, work experience, title and company. You will fill out these two. Education, you will put whatever the name of your institution is, whatever degree you got, and months, year that it took you to complete this part. So far, we got all of the stuff that we need to have for the main part. Next week, we're going to focus on the sidebar. So on this part, we're going to focus on this part, and we will make it look pretty. We will make this whole thing look prettier. I will show you how to import some fonts, because you see that this font is different from this font. So I will show you how to do that. And I will show you how to change the background, how to change the color of your text, how to make sure it looks cohesive. So you see there's some space here, there's some space here. This text does not go all the way to the end as it does here. You see that all of this text, it goes all the way to the end of the page, no matter how much we move it. And this one does not. It's going to stay as it is. So I'm going to show you how to do that next week. But yeah, this is it for now. If you guys have any questions, you are welcome to stay and ask me those questions. But if there's nothing else, you are free to go, and I will see you next week.